साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्।
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा,
विघ्न विनाश गणेशा।
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा,
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा।
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा,
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा।
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा,
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा।
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा,
विघ्न विनाश गणेशा।
पार्वती नंदन पाहि गजानना,
पार्वती नंदन पाहि गजानना।
पार्वती नंदन पाहि गजानना,
पार्वती नंदन पाहि गजानना।
प्रणव स्वरूपा पर्तिपुरीशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा पर्तिपुरीशा।
प्रणव स्वरूपा पर्तिपुरीशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा पर्तिपुरीशा।
पाहि गणेशा विघ्न विनाशा,
पाहि गणेशा विघ्न विनाशा।
पाहि गणेशा विघ्न विनाशा,
पाहि गणेशा विघ्न विनाशा।
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा,
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा।
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा,
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा।
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा,
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा।
पार्वती नंदन पाहि गजानना,
पार्वती नंदन पाहि गजानना।
प्रणव स्वरूपा पर्तिपुरीशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा पर्तिपुरीशा।
पाहि गणेशा विघ्न विनाशा,
पाहि गणेशा विघ्न विनाशा।
पाहि गणेशा विघ्न विनाशा,
पाहि गणेशा विघ्न विनाशा।
तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा।
जय जय गुरुदेवा श्री साई महादेवा।
जय जय गुरुदेवा श्री साई महादेवा।
जय जय गुरुदेवा साई महादेवा।
जय जय गुरुदेवा श्री 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 साई महादेवा।
ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वरा 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 साई महादेवा।
मात पिता गुरुदेवा श्री 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 साई महादेवा।
जय जय 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 गुरुदेवा श्री साई महादेवा।
ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वरा साई महादेवा।
ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश्वरा साई महादेवा।
मात पिता गुरुदेवा श्री 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 साई महादेवा।
जय जय गुरुदेवा श्री साई महादेवा। सुन्दरपादं साईपादं।
सुन्दरपादं साईपादं।
सुन्दरपादं साईपादं।
सुन्दरपादं
पापविमोचनं
पङ्कजचरणं पापविमोचनं
पङ्कजचरणं पापविमोचनं
पङ्कजचरणं पापविमोचनं
सुन्दरपादं सायिपादं
सुन्दरपादं सायिपादं
नटराजनटनं सायिपादं
नटराजनटनं सायिपादं
नटराजनटनं सायिपादं
नटराजनटनं सायिपादं
श्रीकृष्णनर्तनं सायिपादं
श्रीकृष्णनर्तनं सायिपादं
श्रीकृष्णनर्तनं सायिपादं
श्रीकृष्णनर्तनं सायिपादं
भवदुःखहरणं सायिपादं
भवदुःखहरणं सायिपादं
भवदुःखहरणं सायिपादं
भवदुःखहरणं सायिपादं
जगदोद्धारणं सायिपादं
जगदोद्धारणं सायिपादं
जगदोद्धारणं सायिपादं
जगदोद्धारणं सायिपादं
सुन्दरपादं सायिपादं
सुन्दरपादं सायिपादं
पङ्कजचरणं पापविमोचनं
पङ्कजचरणं पापविमोचनं
सुन्दरपादं सायिपादं
सुन्दरपादं सायिपादं
नटराजनटनं सायिपादं
नटराजनटनं सायिपादं
श्रीकृष्णनर्तनं सायिपादं
श्रीकृष्णनर्तनं सायिपादं
भवदुःखहरणं सायिपादं
भवदुःखहरणं सायिपादं
जगदोद्धारणं सायिपादं
जगदोद्धारणं सायिपादं
जगदोद्धारणं सायिपादं
जगदोद्धारणं सायिपादं
सुन्दरपादं सायिपादं
शीतलचरणं कोमलचरणं मञ्जुलचरणं मम गुरुचरणं
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 मृदुलचरणं अनुग्रहचरणं
मृदुलचरणं अनुग्रहचरणं
सद्गुरुचरणं सदा स्मरामि सद्गुरुचरणं सदा स्मरामि प्रेमदाता साई गुरुनाथा प्रेमदाता साई गुरुनाथा पावन चरणं सदा भजामि पावन चरणं सदा भजामि शीतलचरणं कोमलचरणं मञ्जुलचरणं मम गुरुचरणम्
शीतलचरणं कोमलचरणं मञ्जुलचरणं मम गुरुचरणम्
मृदुलचरणं अनुग्रहचरणं सद्गुरुचरणं सदा स्मरामि प्रेमदाता साई गुरुनाथा पावन चरणं सदा भजामि पावन चरणं सदा भजामि शीतलचरणं कोमलचरणं मञ्जुलचरणं मम गुरुचरणम्
परतीश्वरा सत्यसाईश्वरा परतीश्वरा सत्यसाईश्वरा दया करो हरिनारायणा दया करो हरिनारायणा श्री साई नारायणा श्री साई नारायणा भवसागरोद्धार भुवनावना भवसागरोद्धार भुवनावना नारायण
दया करो हरि नारायण
दया करो हरि नारायण श्री साई नारायण साई नारायण साई श्री साई नारायण श्री साई नारायण परतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा परतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा दया करो हरि नारायण दया करो हरि नारायण श्री साई नारायण साई नारायण साई भव सागरो धार भुवनावना भव सागरो धार भुवनावना शरणागत त्राण नारायण शरणागत त्राण नारायण दया करो हरि नारायण दया करो हरि नारायण श्री साई नारायण साई नारायण साई श्री साई नारायण श्री साई नारायण परतीश्वरा सत्य साईश्वरा साई अवतारा युगावतारा साई अवतारा युगावतारा साई अवतारा युगावतारा साई अवतारा युगावतारा दीन दयाला संकटहारा दीन दयाला संकटहारा दीन दयाला संकटहारा दीन दयाला संकटहारा साई अवतारा युगावतारा अवतारा युगावतारा साई ब्रह्मा साई विष्णु साई ब्रह्मा साई विष्णु साई महेश्वरा साई महेश्वरा साई महेश्वरा युग अवतारा सत्य साई प्रेम साई
सत्य साई प्रेम साई
सब धर्मों के बाबा साई
सब धर्मों के बाबा साई
साई परमेश्वरा युग अवतारा
अवतारा युग अवतारा
साई ब्रह्मा साई विष्णु
साई ब्रह्मा साई विष्णु
साई महेश्वरा अवतारा युग अवतारा
अवतारा युग अवतारा
सत्य साई प्रेम साई
सत्य साई प्रेम साई
सब धर्मों के बाबा साई
सब धर्मों के बाबा साई
साई परमेश्वरा
साई परमेश्वरा
साई परमेश्वरा
साई परमेश्वरा
साई अवतारा युग अवतारा
भजो सीताराम भजो राधेश्याम
भजो सीताराम भजो राधेश्याम
भजो सीताराम भजो राधेश्याम
भजो सीताराम भजो राधेश्याम
गोविंद गोपाल साई हरे राम
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 भजो सीताराम भजो राधेश्याम
भजो सीताराम भजो राधेश्याम
केशव माधव राधा वल्लभ
केशव माधव राधा वल्लभ
केशव माधव राधा वल्लभ
केशव माधव राधा वल्लभ
वरद नारायण नयन भिराम
वरद नारायण नयन भिराम
वरद नारायण नयन भिराम
वरद नारायण नयन भिराम
गोविंद गोपाल साई हरे राम
गोविंद गोपाल साई हरे राम
भजो सीताराम भजो राधेश्याम
भजो सीताराम भजो राधेश्याम
गोविंद गोपाल साई हरे राम
गोविंद गोपाल साई हरे राम
भजो सीताराम भजो राधेश्याम
भजो सीताराम भजो राधेश्याम
केशव माधव राधा वल्लभ
केशव माधव राधा वल्लभ
वरद नारायण नयन विराम
वरद नारायण नयन विराम
गोविंद गोपाल साई हरे राम
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 भजो सीताराम भजो राधेश्याम
मृत्युंजयाय नमः
मृत्युंजयाय नमः
मृत्युंजयाय नमः
मृत्युंजयाय नमः
त्रयंबकाय नमः
त्र्यंबकाय नमः
त्रयंबकाय नमः
To that, somehow, quite unusually, even from my childhood, from the time I was 10, 11, 12, somehow there was a slight spiritual calling. I don't know what exactly it was, but I felt I should go to some ashram. There's some inner calling. As a young child, now thinking about it's very strange that how it started. It's all Swami's. Now I know it is all Swami's calling. In fact, several places in the book I mentioned how Swami had been there all along. In the photograph in the car when I go to school, and I've seen Swami in Shanti Kutir in Royapuram, which is next door to my father's hospital, where I used to stand and actually saw Swami. But all that really didn't make an impact, although I just saw Swami, but time calling had not yet come. But somewhere in my heart, there was a calling. So I went, first I went to Aurobindo Ashram, spent 2-3 days there, just at the time I finished my high school and pre-university days. I went there. It was nice, very nice, I liked that. But something kept telling me, no, this is not it. Then I went to Ramana Ashram. I found very peaceful, very nice. I was very impressed by the whole thing. But something kept telling me, no, there's a voice inside me saying, this is not it. This is very nice, but this is not it. So something else, and I never connected with Satya Sai Baba. Then in 1992, there was a conference, there was a diabetes conference in Bangalore. So I had finished the conference, having dinner and just relaxing after dinner. I don't know why at that time, I just asked a Sai friend of mine, Dr. Shyam Sundar, he's a diabetologist, 1 year senior to me. So I said, Shyam, is Swami here in Bangalore? Because we were in Bangalore. Is he here in Whitefield? And he said, yes, he's here. And I had also checked with Sundaram in Chennai, although I didn't have much connection with Sundaram. And they also told me that he is there in Whitefield. So I said, Shyam, can we go tomorrow? And my wife was there at that time. Shyam said, you'll come, you want to see? I said, I definitely, something tells me I have to go and visit Swami. So he said, I'll take you, he said. So we started off early morning and we were told that Swami is going to be there. That's what I heard, that Swami is going to be there. Started off early morning. Somewhere about 6:37, we were reaching the Whitefield ashram. As we were reaching that small level crossing those days, railway crossing, and then just we are crossing and then going towards the ashram, we found people leaving. So then Shyam said, I don't think Swami is here. I think he has left because people are leaving. Nobody will leave at this time when Swami is there. By the time we reached the ashram, it's clear that Swami was not there. He had gone to Kodai, I think. So he had left and people were leaving. So having reached almost the gate of the ashram, Shyam asked me, Dr. Shyam Sundar asked me, Mohan, do you still want to go in? Swami is not there. Do you still want to go in? I said, okay, having come this far, what is the point? And we've traveled all the way from Bangalore, we've come here. Let's just enter the ashram. Maybe we'll just, do namaskar there and then we will leave. So purely without any other idea in mind, my wife, Dr. Shyam Sundar and we just entered the ashram. The first few steps I took inside the ashram, something hit me. I really can't explain it. If you ask me what hit you, tell me, explain it, I can't explain it. It was like a bolt from the blue, as if something had really hit me, and that inner voice which had been telling me, this is not it, that inner voice told me, this is it.
Wow.
This is what you have been waiting for all your life. So I immediately told Shyam, this is it, So he said, what is it? I said, I'd been waiting for something all my life, and this is it. I know this is it. This is my turning point, So he said, and my wife also asked me, how, you haven't even seen Swami, and how can you be so sure? I said, no, I'm absolutely sure, because all these years I've been waiting, and every place I went to, the voice kept telling me, this is not it, this is not it. Now that voice is telling me, this is it. What voice? It's an inner conscience. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. Scientifically, I can't explain it, but I knew that it was there. So I immediately went to the mandir. I prayed there. I could literally feel Swami's presence there. Swami had left. Must have been, half an hour, 1 hour or more since he left. But Swami's vibration was actually there. So what you call as vibrations when you enter a spiritual place, it was full of that. Okay, and to be very honest, I don't think Sham, who was a devotee, or my wife felt it at that time. So I think that was for me. It was very special. Straight I went to the bookshop there and I said, I want to buy some books on Swami. You know, the same books which I had read earlier, Man of Miracles by Howard Moffat and so on. I had read that earlier. And I said, interesting. You know, it didn't make an impression. It just said interesting when I read it. This time when I read it, I said, this is phenomenal. Swami is not an ordinary human being. He is God in human form. By the time I read the first book, I was convinced. And then I read the second book of Moffat, third book of Moffat. In fact, the entire series of 6 or 7 books, I read them all. Then I started reading other books. Then I started attending the Bhajans in Sundaram, and one of them in Chennai. And one of the things which struck me was the discipline. And I am a person who loves discipline. When I found the discipline in this organization, then I felt that Swami, who has introduced so much of discipline in an organization, must be somebody really, really great. Here, in this organization, when they say 6 o'clock, 6 it starts, the bhajan. When they say 7, it'll stop, 7, and the clock comes to 7, it stops. How can this happen? You know, I was so impressed. Then I found the discipline, I found the love, I found the sevadals, I found every part of the organizations and all the work that he does fascinated me. Soon thereafter, a few months later, the same year, Swami came to Chennai. And there I lined up early morning to get this morning darshan when Swami comes in Sundaram and stands, on the first floor there and then gives his Abhaya darshan. It is something amazing. That's the time when the sun just rises and you can feel Swami's power. So I used to go at 2 o'clock in the morning, stand in the queue, and then, go for Nagar Sankirtan, finish, come back, and we'll be in the first row there when Swami blesses us from top. So those were the days when my first initiation into Swami took place. After a couple of years, the first visit to Parthi took place. Then in 1994, it was in March, and we were sitting in a Chinese restaurant. And my father-in-law, who normally is actually a critic, he used to actually criticize Swami, who is this man, and all that. Suddenly, out of the blue, the whole family was sitting and having dinner with no connection to Swami. We had not discussed anything spiritual, nothing. Dinner came, bill was about to come. Suddenly he said, why don't we go to Puttaparthi? So there's a stunned silence everywhere. So the children were all shocked to hear him say this, because he never said anything about Swami or Puttaparthi. So only as a son-in-law, I had the guts to ask him, did you say Puttaparthi? I asked him. And he said, yes, why? We shouldn't go to Puttaparthi. I said, no, but I want to go to Puttaparthi, he said. I didn't ask him why. I said, okay, let's go. So then that night I went. I didn't know the ashram rules and so on. So somebody had given me some number to call. So I called. And the person who took up the phone was Mr. Narayanan, the former secretary to Swami. He picked it up. And the moment I introduced myself, he said, oh, Dr. Mohan, I know you. So I didn't even know who he was at that time. And he said, oh, you want to come to Puttaparthi? Come immediately. Swami may go off, to Kodaikanal. So I didn't want to again miss him this time like it happened in Whitefield. So I said, okay, let's come. Now, all of us, those days, we all travel by train only. And to get booking for so many people, 5, 6 of us by train at short notice is very difficult. Lo and behold, when you went there, we got the tickets. All like a miracle, Swami opened all the doors and here we were at Puttaparthi. So we came here and first darshan, Swami came and then quickly went into the interview room. So he didn't come near us, so he went into the interview room. A few minutes later, Swami comes out. Very strangely, he just comes out and then he walks out. And he comes straight to where my wife was sitting. Now, she was sitting with a couple of vibhuti packets in her hand. So, Swami came straight to her and said, take Pada Namaskar. She was so shocked because that was her first visit also. And here is Swami coming and standing in front of her and saying, take Pada Namaskar. So she immediately took Pada Namaskar. Then she had the Vibhuti packets with her. She stretched it out to Swami. He took his hand and blessed it. And then just looked around and went back to the interview room. I don't know what made him come out and so on. And we were watching all this and wondering, oh my God, she's so lucky that he has come out and blessed her and then went back to the...
Almost like Swami was waiting for her.
Waiting for her, and then suddenly he comes, and then he remembered, and then he came, and then he saw her, and then he went back. He went back to the interview room, and then usual thing, and then he went away. It was as if just for her he had come. So we were very surprised. At the end of it, we said, you're so lucky, and so on. So we went back. About 3 or 4 days after we went back, she develops a lump in her armpit, the right side, a small lump. So we said, oh, what is this lump? So we went and met a surgeon, our teacher, Professor Rangabasham, also later became Swami's devotee. And he said, oh, this looks like a tubercle lump, maybe TB node. The TB, she's not exposed to TB, and so on. Then when we did the biopsy, it turned out to be a metastatic secondary deposit from a cancer, from a breast cancer. So then they said she's got breast cancer. We had not even seen the breast lump, She had an old fibroadenoma, a small lesion, and we were told as students repeatedly in the textbook of surgery is written in bold letters, fibroadenoma never turns malignant. So twice she was operated, the third one. So we had ignored it because it's busy with the profession and we didn't have time to take off and so on. It had grown a little bigger, but we never suspected that was because twice it had been shown to be fibroadenoma, and fibroadenoma never turns malignant. So even we told Dr. Rangabasham, he said, let's take it out anyway. I'm not sure whether that's the one. We took it out and did the biopsy. It was the malignancy. So that fibroadenoma had turned malignant. And all this happened within 3-4 days after our coming to Puttaparthi. Within 2 weeks, within about 10 days after our coming to Puttaparthi, we had the biopsy report, and she had cancer. The cancer had already spread to the axilla. That means already it's grade 3B it was. And that's the stage when you're diagnosing the cancer. My daughter was 13 years old. And we had just started our profession because I'd left my father, taken huge loans. My wife had taken loan. I had taken loan. On top of that, the company had taken loans, and we were in deep trouble. And it was her income. It was one of the reasons why we delayed her going for looking at the third what we thought was fibroadenoma. And at that time, cancer is diagnosed, and my daughter is 13 years old. Looking back now, it was a distinct... Why would my father-in-law, who was not even a devotee, mention that we go to Puttaparthi? Why would we suddenly plan to come there? Because we had missed it then. Swami had gone to Kodaikanal and we would have missed him. So why would we come? Why did Swami come out there and particularly meet her and bless her and ask her to take Pada Namaskar and bless that Vibhuti packet, which that Vibhuti she took throughout her treatment, which helped her to sustain throughout? It was Swami's that one blessing which took her through the entire treatment. Every time she would say, Swami has blessed me. Swami has given me Pada Namaskar. Swami has blessed this Vibhuti. With this I will go on. That gave her tremendous courage, not only to go through that, but 13 years later, as described in the book, 13 years later when the cancer came back and all that she went through at that time, all happened through this one incident of our first visit to Puttaparthi. So the first visit to Whitefield made me a devotee, and the first visit to Puttaparthi made the entire family come to Swami's fold, and it was his calling telling that yes, you have to go through all this, but I am there with you. Several times in the dream as well as when I have talked to Swami, I have directly told him, please cure her, Swami. And he would say, it's a difficult to treat disease, no? He will ask. That will be his reply. When I say, Swami, you cure it. You can cure it. Difficult to treat disease, no? He will ask. Saying that, no, I'm not curing. And then he would then tell me, but she will be there for a long time. That is one assurance that he told me. Wow. But she will be there for a long time. She was there for 17 years after a stage 3B malignancy, which is very unusual. Because we look at the statistics, 5-year survival of all breast cancers is about 40%, 40 to 50%. 10-year survival is less than 20%. Okay? And 17-year survival for a stage 3B is very unusual. It's very, very unusual. And it is only Swami's grace which took us through. So that was 2 turning points in my life. One was the coming to Swami, and the second was the physical proximity to Swami.
Swami preparing you
Yes.
for what was to come.
Absolutely.
I mean,
That's
he was
well put,
entering
well
your
put.
life
Yes.
at a stage where he felt now you definitely need divine
Correct.
strength
Correct.
to go through what
Correct.
life is
And
going
but
to
you
give
hit the nail on the head. But for that divine strength, we would all crumbled. We'd all completely collapsed. And that I've written in so many words in my book, saying that if you didn't give us that strength, that pillar to which we can hold on. We all need something to hold on to. Swami was that pillar of strength, of hope, of love, of grace, of blessing. And that pillar we all held on to, and that pillar never shook. Saw us through it's like a storm. The flood is coming and we have only that pillar and we're holding on to that.
Yes.
And then the entire flood, till the flood goes away, the pillar is there and we are able to sustain.
This is life with Swami is endless hope.
Yes, exactly.
Perhaps going to be a hopeless end,
Yes.
he converted into endless hope.
Exactly.
And as you said, in a storm, you have a blade of grass that keeps shaking.
Correct,
but
correct.
once you have his grace, you become like the stem of a banyan tree.
Exactly.
You can go through anything. And
Exactly.
Swami knows when to enter our lives. Fantastic. Thank you so much, sir.
Sai Ram.
ॐ जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वरा ॐ जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपदान्धवा ॐ जय जगदीश हरे मातपिता गुरुदैवमु मरियन्तयु नीवे स्वामी मरि अन्तयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्रशयना ॐ जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी हो साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल आरती अंधुको मंगल आरती अंधुको मंगल गिरिधारी नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की